Okay guys, I just want to give you a look at the Qubeley now while it's holding its beam sabers. I kind of posed a bit here. Let's look at that spinning around. As I've been kind of taking some photos of this, doing some posing, I just noticed a couple of weak points that are definitely maybe kind of worth mentioning. Just where the binders attach to the shoulders there. Like I kind of mentioned before, I modified that to give them a little bit more movement, but it still doesn't really help them get like as secure on there as they really should be. The kind of the whole mechanism of the peg inside there that plugs into the binder could be redesigned a bit just to kind of help that to stay on there more. The other thing would be where the whole arm and shoulder, everything plugs into the main torso. That peg could be a bit longer because when you start moving stuff around, because of the limitations of the posability, it's easy if you try to maybe put the arm at such an angle, it just pops the peg out because the peg is pretty short, only maybe about 5 millimeters maybe. It's kind of a standard peg length, but for something like that, it really should be longer. But everything in the legs, the backpack, the head, all of that is fine. It's really just with the arms. It's just with a lot of kind of weight sticking out in every area. Even the legs a little bit too, with all of the weight sticking out. If you try to get it in too dynamic pose, it's really not able to hold the pose very well without kind of the weight being an issue. You can always solve that with a little glue or something, whatever. It's not really that big of a deal, especially if you want to put it in one pose and keep it like that forever, like on your shelf. It would be easy enough to just set with glue, but if you want to really be able to put it in a few different poses, you're going to have trouble with the weight. Alright, and one more pose I want to show you guys here with this, before I kind of show you the final form. A couple more things I wanted to mention is just that, like I mentioned before, in the work in progress, this kit will not stand on its own without some modification. And with the kind of knee joint, I think the knee joint is the biggest problem with that, and also kind of the design of the feet. Maybe I'm just not doing something right, but from what I can figure out, there's no way that it's going to stand on its own. So you absolutely need the stand. The other thing is that, I don't know if you can notice, I hope not, the thigh armor and the forearm armor, the white parts, I said I didn't paint the white at all, but those had seam lines, so I had to really carefully get rid of those seam lines, and I hope you probably can't tell on this. If you were to look at the kit like in person really close, you could probably tell that there used to be a seam line there, but I think I did a pretty good job of getting rid of that. I just filled it in and sanded it really well, and then I did go over it with just some white paint, and then just kind of went over that with thinner to basically just kind of fill in any like light scratches and stuff with just a little bit of white paint, just to kind of help it all blend pretty well. So yeah, and the last thing is that if you saw my unboxing video, in the manual it shows like 20 different really awesome poses that you can do with the funnels, having the funnels like in a line in front of it, having them in a circle around it. You got all this different stuff. Just be prepared to spend a lot of time doing that and a lot of work. I'm not gonna do it. Just there's no way. I really just can't be bothered. I'm gonna show you one pose that's kind of my favorite, but other than that, yeah, sorry. So without any further ado, here's the kind of final pose I want to show you. And now I've got the Qubeley all set up, and with the base and with all the funnels just kind of circling around there. This, of all the pictures that were shown in the manual, this was kind of the pose that I thought I wanted to do my best to recreate. Though it was a lot of work and really hard to get all these rods bent around in that curved position, and of course they're not all straight, and so it's not really perfect as much as I'd like, but it's pretty close, and I think it looks pretty good. I'll give you a little bit closer look now. Let me refocus that up. So yeah, it looks really good, and I think this would definitely be a good way to pose. I mean, to leave the kit like posed on a shelf, except for that the base, to have the Qubeley like this, it's kind of got to be like leaning forward a bit. So the connection on the base, actually, there's a rod that sticks out straight, and then the kind of cap part goes over that. So it's very easy to fall forward off of this mount. The way that the mount is designed is not very good for something like this. If you want to have any sort of pose, it's like coming forward, it's just gonna fall off on its face. But other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it for the Qubeley. I'd say this is a really nice kit if you're just willing to just put in a little bit of work to get it, you know, everything fitting nice, and all the color apps just right how you want it. Obviously I changed the color on mine, but otherwise the way that it's molded I think is fine. I guess you wouldn't really have to do a whole lot of painting. And the stickers that it comes with I think are probably pretty good. I didn't really even try any, but I've seen like in Prime 92's videos, the stickers look good on her Qubeley, so yeah, if you want to check it out, yeah, you can get it at Gundam Central, or I'm sure many other sites, but I would recommend Gundam Central. Yeah, thanks for watching.